Those excited to see Marilyn back in Palm Springs will have to wait a little longer. Her unveiling ceremony has now been pushed back 1 week to April 25th, but not everyone is happy she's returning. Opponents of the statue's new location on Museum Way are threatening legal action. They want the city to consider an alternative location, and they're raising money for a potential lawsuit. I spoke with designer Trina Turk and Chris Menrad from the Committee to Relocate Marilyn. Trina and Chris, thanks so much for joining us.
Hi, Peter.
First off, tell us why you're so passionate about relocating Marilyn.
If everybody remembers, we had a sales tax measure, Measure J, a few years ago. And after it passed, the community fought for a street to provide an unobstructed view from Palm Canyon Drive to the front of the museum. So Museum Way is that road, and it provides the view corridor that was part of a downtown plan that was adopted in 2016. So the city and PS Resorts are basically co-opting Museum Way for the improper placement of the Marilyn statue in direct contradiction to the downtown plan. And we're not opposed to Marilyn, we just don't want her to go there.
Where would you like Marilyn to go?
Actually, interestingly enough, during the city council meeting where they co-opted the street for her, 3 of the 5 city council members all said they preferred and suggested Francis Stevens Park, where right now there's a kind of a fountain feature called, I think it's called Rainmaker. And, you know, it's had problems over the years because it's got water and for lots of different reasons, maintenance costs, etc. They could probably save enough money by moving it there to more than pay for its installation over the years. And so that's kind of a place that people have mentioned.
So just to clarify, your problem is not so much with the statue of Marilyn itself. You're more concerned about the location of this statue. So basically any statue at all in that location.
Well, any 26-foot tall, 34,000-pound statue, because part of this whole agreement was that you would have this beautiful view from Palm Canyon to the front of the museum. And because Marilyn is so massive, she would block that view. And the whole purpose of building that street was to create that view. So the other part of it is that she did have a place planned in the downtown park for many, many years. And it was posted in City Hall for 2 years. And it was just recently, last November, that all of a sudden the placement was changed. So it's just, you know, there's a lot of community outrage about this. And we just don't think the city council is really listening to the community. I mean, we are staying away from sort of the matters of taste and aesthetics as far as our organization is concerned. Our sole mission is to not have her placed in front of the museum.
Right.
I mean, people love her or hate her, but she should not go in front of the museum.
And blocking a street.
It's interesting that you're so passionate about this, and you've also created a group, Relocate Marilyn. You've been promoting this and also asking people to donate.
Yes.
Why are you so fervent about moving this statue?
I think for me, I'll just tell you why. I think that it's about process. And so, you know, there are rules and regulations, and we have them in this town, and they weren't really followed. And you can then, government can just sort of usurp the will of the people and do whatever they want. And for me, it's about, they need to follow the rules. And, you know, if that's what leads it to being there through some rules, that's okay. I felt that they have just skirted the issue of regulation entirely.
I mean, I'm passionate about it because, you know, both Chris and I have been involved in architectural preservation in Palm Springs, which has brought a ton of tourism to Palm Springs. I mean,
Right.
So many people come to see the mid-century architecture, and then they're going to plop this thing like right in front of one of the most important buildings in Palm Springs. So it's something that, you know, the mid-century modern preservation is something that Chris and I have been working on for at least 20 years. And it is, you know, the fact that the city will do PS Resorts bidding that completely contradicts the downtown plan, it's just not right.
Do you plan on taking legal action?
If necessary, yes. That's what the GoFundMe is for. It's CREMA, the Committee to Relocate Marilyn. And the funds we're raising are for potential litigation. I mean, we've already engaged an attorney who has already written several letters to the city for clarification on the whole matter, but we find the city's responses unsatisfactory. And so if it's necessary to take legal action, that's what we're raising money for.
What would you say to folks, and I'm sure you've heard this already, who kind of roll their eyes at this whole thing and say, what's the big deal? It's just a statue. What would you say to people who think this is all really, first world problems?
It is just a statue, but, we can't just forget about rules, regulations, and also you're changing the nature of an important part of Palm Springs that people asked to be open and connected to the city when the sales tax was done. That was a big deal. And so they're basically just taking that and throwing that away, which is the will of the people, with nobody giving any input. So it's not just about a first world problem. It's about government not doing the right thing.
And also, the originally planned location is only 100 steps from where they want to place it. So why don't they just go back to the originally planned location and just make it work?
All right, certainly an interesting topic. Trina and Chris, we appreciate your time. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, Peter.
The Palm Springs City Attorney sent us a statement saying, in part, the process that the committee and their lawyer is referring to is for a permanent closure of a street, which is not what we're dealing with here. This will be a temporary closure. You can see the full statement on our website, kesq.com.